See, I'm a beast when you hear that sound like yeah, beat on the beat when you hear that sound like woo. Yeah, bitch and the champ only need one round like yeah, me, I'm a G right here and it sound like
Mike Owens here, joined today by Johnny Munoz Jr, who returns to action 7th of October, facing Aoriqileng. Johnny, always a pleasure, my man. How are things at you today?
Doing great, man. Always a pleasure to speak with you. How you been?
I'm very well. It's been quite a while since we spoke. How have things been in your world?
Yeah, they've been, they're getting good, man. I can't complain. Every day I'm living, I'm breathing. I get to do what I love, so I can't complain. You know what I mean? I don't like to. Every time something like happens where it's like tough, you always gotta like, hey, you know what I mean? Like there's other people that have it way worse, so it's just a reality check. You know what I mean? And like the more like, I'm American, but I'm also Mexican American. I actually have citizenship in both countries. But you know what I mean? When you kind of live in Mexico, like part of the time, it really makes you appreciate when you come back home. You see a lot of different shit out there. That's I mean, you can find that stuff here in the U.S., but it has its areas versus in Mexico. It's like you could be in a nice area, then boom, like just walk down the street and then it's just like a shithole. You know what I mean?
Out of interest, if you were trapped in the UK, you were trapped in my country, you could only go back to either Mexico or the US. Which one would you pick?
If I was trapped in your country,
if you could only go back to one country for the rest of your life between Mexico and the US.
Oh man, it's crazy because the old me would have said Mexico, because Mexico's a beautiful country. You know what I mean? But I think I gotta say the U.S., man. Like I'm proud like to be a Mexican American, but I'm very proud to be on like this soil. My grandparents, they worked hard. You know what I mean? They came from Mexico, came over here illegally, then they went through the process in search of a better life. You know what I mean? So I'm very grateful for that. Because of that, I was born over here, and I'm dual citizenship. But some of those guys that were born down there, they don't have those same opportunities, and it's a little more difficult for some of those guys. So that's why I'm grateful. And yeah, I know there's corruption in every country, but it's pretty crazy in Mexico.
Yeah.
U.S. was pretty corrupt too, but I truly bleed the true American spirit. What this country was born on is what I bleed.
Yeah, 100%. I know that you're currently in California at the moment, but I know that generally in camps you spend some time in Las Vegas and also some time in Mexico, down at your gym down there. How have you split your time between the three places that you train for this camp?
Yeah, so as of late, I mean, the last, I've been just out here in California, Sequence, and then in Mexico. Those have been the two spots I've been going. I haven't been going to Vegas much. Been a while. Like I go there, like whatever, but when I'm in camp, I had to narrow it down a little bit. It was a little tough, going between a lot of driving, and so now I'm just between the two, so it makes it a little easier. The driving still could be a little long because from TJ or Tijuana, Mexico, for my gym, like an hour 45 minutes, which is not too bad. But so it's a little less driving. And I'm fine. I can get more like things done and also like take naps in between training sessions because it's necessary.
Yeah, 100%. I was having a little bit of a look at your Instagram before we jumped on, and you know how when you can post a photo on Instagram, you can post some audio over the top of it. You can post a song. I noticed that there was two posts that you put on where the tune was Johnny Cash. Is that a particular reason? Is that something that's particularly going on in this camp with regards to the Man in Black, or is that just me seeing a coincidence and making too much of it?
No, I mean it's how I feel. Like usually I'll feel a certain way, but I always like I'm the man. You know what I mean? Like I feel like every day you got to wake up like, hey, I'm the man. This is what I'm doing. I'm the man. You know what I mean? The man always comes around. Like when you kick a man down, whatever. A man's going through a hardship, it's a man's job like to get up off into his feet and hey, fuck this, you know what I mean? I'm gonna get up there and prove everybody wrong and do it for myself. And it's to me like the man always comes around, and I feel like the man needs to come around and take names. So like there's a man going around taking names, like that's me. So I got to take these names.
I love it, and what a song. As I mentioned a little bit earlier, about a week and a half's time, you'll be making your return facing Aoriqileng. Give me your overall opinion on your opponent. What's your scouting report on the next one?
Yeah, I mean, he's a tough guy. You know, he likes to stand there and throw. He seems heavy-handed. And I always say this though, but like, you know, everyone hits hard with 4-ounce gloves. It doesn't really take much. You take a clean blow without neck whiplashes. That's all it really takes. That's why it's great to keep your chin down, hands up, so you can see a little more. Because I think that's what knocks people out when the head whiplashes.
Yeah.
If it's just intact and you get hit, it hurts, but it's not gonna whiplash. You could absorb a little better. So I mean, yeah, he's a tough guy, but you got to be more than tough. You know, I always say that. And, you know, I know he's coming in, you know, he wants to win. He wants to do the same thing I want to do to him. But, you know, his only job, like next Saturday, is to make next Saturday my worst day ever. You know what I mean? He wants to shit on my dreams, shit on my goals, but I can't let him do that. I got to shit on his goals. And I'm going to have to do it. Afterwards, it's all handshakes and everything. But that man's not beating me next Saturday. And, yeah, he's a tough guy, tough competitor, but I'm not letting him take this one from me. I got a lot to write on this one. You know, I got to write back my previous fight that didn't go as planned. So, like, this guy's in my way, you know what I mean? Even after I beat him, I'm not going to be happy, you know what I mean? I feel like I'm not going to be happy till I accomplish my goal of being the best in the world. You know, all these winning is little steps, but it's not, you're not going to see me celebrating, jumping around like a fucking clown and idiot. Like, it's not. Like, my goal is to be the best in the world. Once I do that, maybe you might see me do that. But this man is just another step to becoming the best in the world. So, yeah, this guy's in the way, and I'm gonna beat him.
Out of interest, has there been a mentality shift on your end? Because we're talking about the man coming around, taking names, and we're talking about this guy's standing in the way of everything you want. Is there a mentality shift on your end? Have things perhaps changed mentally for you?
You know, I think with every fight, you learn a little something.
Hmm.
You know, I train very hard. You know, I've been doing this a long time. But I feel like with this fight, it's just more like, you know, have fun with it. Because I feel sometimes when you take things very serious, you kind of lose your mind a little bit. And what I mean by that, like, you're thinking, I gotta get my training sessions in, training hard. You're thinking, visualizing. You're trying to do all this shit right. Your strength conditioning. But it's like, dude, we're just fighters, man. You just gotta be in the gym, put your time in. You watch a little film. I mean, you don't need to fucking sit there every day and like keep that living rent free in your head. Because I feel like, you know, it's not fun doing all that shit. You know what I mean? What I like about fighting is, like, I get to train. It's a martial art. It's an art. I get to showcase my skills, what I've been working on. That's like the fun part of it. You know what I mean? But some of the other shit, like, you know, like, I like watching fights, but sitting there thinking and like being obsessed with someone, it's cool. Some people do it, but I feel like sometimes you got to be like the philosophy of the Joker. You know what I mean? Don't take things too serious and lose your mind more in the fun of it. Because I feel like when you have fun, you enter flow. And I feel like when I'm in flow, like, I feel like I'm untouchable. So this is what I've been just gear. Like, obviously I train very hard. I take the sport serious. I'm trying to, you know, you got to enjoy it, because pretty soon I won't be doing this much longer. And then it's going to be weird not training. I'll always be training, but not fighting at this level. One day I'll be retired. So I'm just really trying to sit back and enjoy the process. Because, like, honestly, it doesn't even feel like I'm fighting next week. I don't feel anything. Is crazy. And I felt this way before, and the times I felt this way, like, I've always showed good performances when I was just doing jiu-jitsu tournaments or some of my earlier fights. But sometimes when I feel like when I'm going in, like, to, like, you know, thinking about it or trying to visualize and do all this bullshit, and it's just like sometimes you put too much pressure on yourself, and you're not able to perform as great.
I was just about to say, that is the key for you then, is not letting the pressure of the moment get to you.
Yeah, because I've said this in past interviews too. Like, I do well under pressure, but it's different. Like, put it this way, I think I do well under pressure when I know I gotta go. You know what I mean? Like, if something's on the line, I do good. But I think most human beings, I don't want to say most, I think most people would have that. You know what I mean? If you're, say, like, you know, you're with your family, and then someone's like doing something to your mom, you're gonna have that pressure to fuck that guy up and defend your mom's honor. You know what I mean? I think that should be every human being's instinct. like when I fought Ludwig, you know, I had pressure to win, but it was like I was able to flow and enter in that fight. Uh, I think because, you know, I didn't know, like, I got to win this to get my next contract. It was very important to me. And the last fight, you know, I had pressure on myself, but I felt like maybe I put too much pressure on myself. And then, and I felt good. And then the fight got canceled. And it was just a weird fucking thing, man. Like, when the fight got canceled, going back into camp, I felt like my body was just fucking fatigued already. I had to redo it again, the weight cut. And it's not taking that away from my opponent, but I would never do that again if the fight falls off week of. If we're going to reschedule, it needs to be like, I'd rather wait it out because the way I train is just it's hard. You know what I mean? I'm not one of those lazy fighters that doesn't train. So I think when you train hard and when you cut weight like I do, it's not very easy just to get back in there in 4 weeks. So yeah, I mean, I feel like, but with this one, it's just I want to have fun in there. I think like I've been telling myself, like, what's the worst that could happen to me in this fight? You know what I mean? Okay, I lose. This guy, I already know what it's like to lose. You know, I've been stopped one time in my career, so what's the worst that could happen to me? Like, and I've always rebounded from it. So it's like, okay, so what? So with that in mind, it's like I'm gonna go in there and have fun. And I know when I have fun, I'm a dangerous guy because I'm just thinking about, you know, doing what I love. And, you know, I like hurting people, and it's a fun thing when I get to do it legally and get paid for it.
I love it. And you mentioned there about kind of bouncing back. I kind of wanted to bring it back to this initial run you've had in the UFC because for your first 5 fights going in, you've alternated wins and losses. You started with a loss and then alternated win, loss, win, loss. Throughout these first 5, 6 fights going in down to your 6th, what are the key lessons that you've learned from this early part of your UFC career, and how can you find that consistency?
Yeah, so I mean, UFC, everyone's tough in here, man. Like I remember when my first fight, I went there. I thought I won, but you know, it's done already. It was a controversial decision. But like what I've noticed, like, man, these guys, like, everyone knows a little bit of everything. You know what I mean? It's like the toughest guys from the regional scene made it here. So it's like when I was in the regional scene, I was fucking everybody up. So now it's like you're in the UFC, you're fighting all of the best that were in their regional scene from their respective area, wherever they're from. So like everybody's here is tough. And also I do believe like the 135-pound division is the toughest division. Uh, it's a very deep division. Guys that are, you know, like you have a top 15, but there's guys outside of it could arguably be in the top 15, but aren't. It's that deep of a division. And I feel like almost like once you're in the top 15, you're a little more safe in a way. Yeah. And what I mean by that, not knocking those guys made it there. But like, what I mean safe, like you're in there, it's like, okay, I'm gonna pick and choose who I fight because I don't want to lose my spot in the rankings. Like fuck fight. And I understand it because like if you're top 10, why am I gonna fight a guy that's not ranked? Like fuck that. You know what I mean?
Things become a lot more strategic.
Yeah, it could be, and you know, I get it. And so I know some people bitch about it, but everybody that bitches about it's like once they get there, they become the same too. So so it, you know, it makes sense, especially in the 135-pound division. It's a deep division, so it's like you're like literally it's all a bunch of killers. So you kill a couple killers, now you're in a pool of maybe top 15, top 10. So it's still dangerous, but it's a little like, okay, I don't have to fight this guy who's fucking dangerous. I could narrow it down now to my options and start working up. Versus when you're not ranked, it's like, fuck, you're fighting this guy, you're fighting this guy. It's okay, here we go. And you got to beat these guys. You got to kill these guys to get to that top 15. So it's one thing I've learned. And I'm no stranger to like the strong competition, you know what I mean? So I'm used to competing at a high level. I was doing it in jiu-jitsu tournaments. So it's just like, I just got to be better than these guys. And I know like the people that know me like know I could do it. I just got to do it in the cage and show people I could do it. So I know there's a lot of fucking journalists, like fucking journalists. Most journalists are fake motherfuckers, dude. And you know, you've been a real one, but there's been a couple like guys that interview me like, oh, they're all cool, fake, and I know they got to write a story and shit, but then I'll hear them like saying like shit. It's like, bro, like, why am I gonna even do an interview with you when you're kind of running your mouth? Like, you know, and we're doing an interview, you're all cool, wishing me luck, but then whenever I lose, then you say something, or I should fight this guy, or this guy will beat me. It's like, bro, like, I know you're trying to do your job, get a story, but fuck you, I ain't gonna give you a story if you hit me up for an interview.
100%. I don't blame you on that one at all. This is your fourth fight in a row in the Apex, obviously with the return of pay-per-view arenas and now kind of fight nights as we're seeing on the road, also international fight nights like so London, Paris, Singapore. The UFC's moving away from that Apex model. How do you feel to be still fighting behind closed doors?
Yeah, it sucks, but I'm kind of used to it now, honestly. I've been in there. That's why, like, when I was supposed to fight in May with Santos' original fight, I felt excited for that fight. Felt real good. It was a live crowd in New Jersey, and it was awesome. So when the fight got canceled, it was just a very bummer. And then we got moved to the Apex. I was like, fuck, here we go again, fighting at the Apex. But honestly, I'm used to it now, fighting in there. I prefer a crowd. I cornered a teammate of mine, Edgar Chaitis. He fought a couple weeks ago in the Noche UFC. He had the controversial no contest. But it's like, man, when you walk out there, it's just fucking different with the arena, the crowd, it's just the energy. So I was like, hopefully after this one, we'll be able to do that.
I was going to ask you about the Noche events. I presume that would have been one you would have liked to have gotten on. But obviously the whole host of Mexican fighters and obviously the title fight with Alexa Grasso at the top of the card. What did you make of the whole event and also this kind of surge of Mexican MMA with Grasso picking up the title last year and then obviously earlier on this year and then Yair and Brandon obviously with the title with Yair with the interim title earlier on the year and then Brandon with the full title lost.
Yeah, so I mean, I thought it was a cool event the way they did it all, like Mexican and stuff. So it was cool. It would have been cool to fight on that card. I originally wanted to fight on there, because there are some people that are on there like Mexican, like but they were born in the United States, but they were still on that card. But they whatever label them as Mexican, which is cool. But it was a cool event. The Alexa fight, that was a great fight. Alexa's tough, man. I thought she was gonna lose. The fight was very close. Being there, I thought Valentina won. But then, I don't know, the fight was real close, though. If you really pay attention and try to look at it, take your bias out of it, it was close. I know it was a draw, but it would be cool to see him running back again. But I don't think anyone thought Alexa was going to fight like she did. You know, I mean, just it was kind of back and forth. And I think she kind of has Valentina's number, like as far as like, you know, I mean, Valentina's just not going to walk through her. So I think it's making Alexa more confident. But overall, the event, it was a cool event. What I would like to see the UFC do an American event. I think that would be cool. You know, like I said, I'm proud to be Mexican, but what trips me out, and I know this is probably going to be controversial to say, I was going to do a video on it. I just haven't got the time to do it, but I will address it. Like I said, I'm a citizen of both countries, but what trips me out about, you know, a Mexican blood people that live over here who are actually American, by the way, you know what I mean? Like even though you're Mexican, but you're American, because Mexicans, it's a nationality, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but like, it's crazy to me, like being at the event, like I think it was Daniel Zellhuber fought Christos Giagos, right?
Yeah.
And Christos is from the United States. Christos comes out with Real American, which is a fucking patriotic song. He came out to that, I was like, oh shit. I was like, it gave me some WWE vibes. He comes out and everyone's booing him. I'm like, why the fuck you booing this guy? This guy was born in this country. All you motherfuckers booing him. And I know these people are of a Mexican descent, Mexican culture, but it's like, dude, you're fucking American. You were born here and you're going to boo this man. Zellhuber comes out. They're giving him a big applause. And, you know, they should, you know, because, you know, you're proud to be Mexican. But at the same time, it's like, keep that same energy with Americans. It's crazy. Yeah. And it was Mexican Independence Day. Vegas, you see all these Mexicans screaming and shit. Mexican screaming. It's called al grito, like the Mexican cry to war, which is cool. I don't have a problem with that. But my problem is like when it's American Independence Day, those same motherfuckers don't have that same energy. You ain't out there taking the streets with the American flag. And when I say this, I'm not dissing Mexicans, because in Mexico, there's some great people. There's some shitheads down there, like everywhere, but there's some great people. I've been going to that country since I was a kid. My grandparents are from there, my mom, and I'm proud. I speak the language and everything. But my issue is with the Mexican Americans that live here in this country who bleed and cry Mexico, but don't have that same energy when it's American Independence Day here.
Yeah.
And those motherfuckers, you're screaming another country's Independence Day, but you live on American soil.
Yeah.
And you never been to Mexico. You never fucking lived there. You never experienced it, how it's like. And resorts like Cancun, all that bullshit doesn't count. You know what I mean? I'm talking living there with the people, like where my family's from in TJ. You know what I mean? Like I've experienced it. Like it's fucking different. You really appreciate living over here in the United States. And there's so many people I met there, great people. They want to come over here, but they can't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's just, I don't know if that's what my little gripe about it is. Like when I see these people and they're born here and they probably don't even have dual citizenship. Some of them don't even speak the language and you're bleeding this other country. It's like, imagine going to another country, I don't know, fucking a Middle East country or another country in Europe, and I'm over there fucking on July 4th, American Independence Day, celebrating, screaming. People are probably gonna fucking kill me. You know what I mean? But in the United States, it's a little different, I know. But it's like, my thing is, the United States is the land of the free. Celebrate your culture, be proud, but also be proud to be an American. Be proud the opportunities this country has given you. This is the way I feel about it, and other people feel the same way. If I spoke to people from other Latin American countries, they think it's fucking weird that in America, like sometimes we celebrate other countries' Independence Day. Like they even think it's weird, but I don't fucking know.
I'm not educated enough on this subject to really give an opinion, but what I will say is in combat sports, I don't feel like American fans get behind American fighters the way, say, British fans get behind British fighters. Like we sell out arenas, and you hear the chants and for the French and the English and the arenas are crazy. Whereas I think because America's so big, it's difficult to latch onto specific fighters.
And I was just gonna bring that up. The thing I don't like about it is like I'm proud to be an American. Like I truly love what the country stood for when it first got developed. Like it's fucking amazing. You read that Constitution, everything about it's like, man, like the fucking outlaws, the fucking took over the West. Like that's a fucking amazing story. And I'm a big man of history, but people here don't get behind their athletes. It's crazy. And I know we have a lot of sports and shit, but it's like, come on, man. Like, how are you gonna boo your own countrymen? And I'm a fan. I like Conor McGregor, but like people cheer for McGregor, and when he fights an American like Eddie Alvarez, they're booing him. Like I don't fucking get that.
Yeah.
You go to England, if like Paddy Pimblin fights, they're fucking cheering for that man.
Yeah.
You think they're gonna boo Paddy Pimblin versus who's an American 155? I don't fucking know.
He's fighting Tony Ferguson in Las Vegas.
Yeah. You think they're gonna cheer Ferguson? Like, say that fight was in England, they're gonna fucking boo Ferguson because they're sticking with their countrymen.
Well, I think let's get off the subject, but there's a chance in the T-Mobile, Ferguson might get booed and Paddy might get cheered because of the start. And that's the crazy thing about it. But I want to turn the conversation back to yourself because obviously we're here to kind of preview your fight. Obviously,
we got off on that tangent a little bit, but I'd have left that one out.
It's perfectly fine, and thank you for giving your opinion on my channel. But no, obviously the fight at hand, I know that the win is obviously key and kind of the bouncing back, and as we talked about, getting that consistency, trying to build that consistency. Past that, what is the key thing you're looking to accomplish on fight night next Saturday?
Yeah, the main thing I'm looking to accomplish, obviously, is I want to put a good performance. I want to be myself out there, and I know I'm going to do it. And I feel like I really want to. I kept saying through like the camp, I'm going back to my old ways, and I think it was just like when I said that, it was just like certain things I did that made me successful in a lot of different areas of my life that I feel like I got away from. But I think with this fight, one area is like I wanna sub this guy. You know what I mean? I've been working my striking. I think my striking's real good. Most people don't know it. I haven't showed much of it in my fight. I showed a little bit. But I feel I want to bring back jiu-jitsu. You know what I mean? Jiu-jitsu is a great art. I feel most of these jiu-jitsu guys are fucking felon. You know what I mean? When jiu-jitsu used to dominate, but I feel the mindset changed when jiu-jitsu became more of a sport and all that. So the game, the point system fucked it up for MMA. But I really want to bring that back. You know what I mean? Like old school fucking jiu-jitsu, get in your face, fucking take you down, beat the shit out of you and strangle you. You know what I mean? Where you just don't want to be there no more. And this is what I really want to showcase in this fight. And I feel like my jiu-jitsu skill set is higher than a lot of people. And I feel that's the always going to be a good area for me to take the fight. And if I can't take the fight there, then fuck it, we're going to box, and I'm just going to jab the shit out of the guy.
I love it. Well, Johnny, it's great to see you back in action. Great to catch up today. I wish you the best of luck for Saturday night and look forward to talking with you soon.
Hey, man, I appreciate you too. I'm always willing to do interviews with you, man. You've always been a straight shooter, and it's always a pleasure, dude.